This week on Supercars Torque, I explain why Triple Eight have just thrown away their chance of winning Bathurst, and I found a friend to start my big Bathurst preview. Before we begin the big Bathurst preview, let's go through some news items from the week. And as I said, Triple Eight have thrown away their chance of winning the great race this year by announcing they've got a one-off livery for the event. They've gone through the back catalogue of Holden liveries and picked a Brocky one from years and years ago. Interesting that all the release shots of it have just been of the Triple Eight car, which it is actually Triple Eight this year. They're taking Lowndes' number for some reason. Maybe they should make him the lead driver after what happened at Pukekohe. Anyway, it looks pretty good. The reason I'm saying they've thrown away their chances of winning the race, when has a one-off livery won? And if anybody says that, Dave Reynolds' livery the other year was a one-off, well, it was essentially the same livery with a couple of extra sponsors on there. Might get proven wrong this year though, because as we go through the Bathurst preview, we'll see that they probably are the favourites. So on the theme of Bathurst, there's going to be an in-car warning system in the cars this year. Kind of dash lights come on when there's a safety car or a yellow flag or something like that. They're basically trying to stop the accidents like what we had up the top of the mountain with Mark Porter. And I'm trying to think, there was one in the Super 2 a while ago, and I think John Martin was involved in one in the 12 hour a couple of years ago. Basically, the idea is that the drivers are saying it's too hard to see the flaggies, and that's why we're driving at full speed when there's a yellow flag up there. I think the problem is that the yellow flag these days means go faster and try and catch a safety car. Sometimes even if you catch a safety car, you just go blazing past it anyway. Anything safety is good, but this system, you still need someone to go through and manually hit a button or whatever for the lights to come on in the car. So if there is a delay like there was with bringing flags out in previous incidents, still going to be a delay hitting that button, essentially. Really though, the drivers can't say that they didn't see it, although we do have a bit of didn't see the safety car or the yellow lights on top of it sometimes. We'll see how it works. As I said, anything safety is good. We were supposed to have a wild card at Bathurst with Team Kiwi. David John, who ran the Team Kiwi thing, I think they started in about 2001 or something with Jace Richards, and then struggled on for a few years, and it all ended, I think it was about 2007 at Stone Brothers with Shane Van Gisbergen, and that basically was just the Stone Brothers doing it to run Shane Van Gisbergen at the end. So anyway, he supposedly had everything in place. We had an engineer, we had a car, we had 2 drivers signed up and everything. We're all ready to go for Bathurst. But then he's turned around and said, there's not enough time to get it ready. If everything's in place, what more time do you need? I think considering this was announced about a week ago or so, time was always going to be tight. Hopefully it is something that kind of crops up. They're talking about, running some wild cards at certain events next year for, the idea of full tilt in 2020. More cars on the grid, the better. Speaking of more cars on the grid, the better. Apparently with this new engine rule stuff for next year, the Kellys were banking on there being running the fly-by-wire throttles, and they've made special cylinder heads to go on top of these Nissan blocks that they've got, and they're actually running out of these heads. So the idea was, with the fly-by-wire throttle, they could go back to the stock, the OEM cylinder heads that they originally started using when they started the Ultima program. They were going to go back to them, which is readily available for them. now it's looking like they wanted to do that because with the fly-by-wire throttle, Supercars could go, right, Kelly's using these, they've lost a bit of power, we can peg everyone back quite easily with these fly-by-wire throttles. They're saying now the fly-by-wire is optional, so no one's going to take it up, because Erebus actually, when they were running the Merc program, they started off with fly-by-wire and they actually went to a mechanical throttle. So that tells you that if there's an option there, no one's going to run the fly-by-wire ones because the mechanical system is better. So Kelly's have basically said that if this doesn't happen, they're in trouble. They haven't got enough cylinder heads for their engines for next year. And they're probably then, they're going to go to Mustangs if this happens, and it will probably be only 2 because they can't afford to go and, shell out all the money to switch everything over. And I don't think it's so much the panels and things like that. I think it's the engine and all those components. As I've said before, the engine programs on these things, it's ridiculous the amount of money, and it's not just like going and buying an engine, it's the fact that you've got to have a couple of spares sat there. If you got 2 cars, you probably need 2 spares. If you got 4 cars, you probably need 4 spares, and having them cycling through the system. So they're saying they go to Mustang, and probably because of cost, because they can then keep producing their own parts, whereas if they go to the Holden Commodore, they have to go and buy the parts off 888. So that's where we're at. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Anyway, now for the big Bathurst preview. So it's time for the big Bathurst preview. I've got my cheat sheet and I found a friend. Hello
guys.
This is Glenn. He knows a little bit about supercars.
Probably not as much as Dave though.
No, but he's a bit of a smart ass, which helps. So that's good. I've got my cheat sheet here with all the lineups and the sponsors and things like that, just in case I forget anything, which does happen from time to time. We'll start off with what'll probably be the back half of the field. Start off the wild cards. As I said earlier, there's only 2 now. The mysterious Team Kiwi one is not happening. So the Walkinshaw Andretti United has brought over a couple of imports from America. One of them's Canadian. So
do I remember back 3 or 4 years ago there was some imports that came to the Gold Coast? And
yes.
They raced all the international drivers and they all crashed before turn 1.
Well, this guy was one of those.
Okay,
so Hinchcliffe did make it over then. Rossi didn't at that point. As I recall, Hinchcliffe wasn't one of the better imports. The guys like Sebastian Bourdais that got invited back again. Hinchcliffe wasn't one of those. So I have actually listed Rossi as the primary driver because he's pretty good. He did make it to Formula 1. Not saying Hinch is bad, but he kind of knows his place in IndyCar, and that's about it. Basically, they're going to qualify last and drive around in last position. But it's great to see some international guys,
Yeah, it's good exposure. But is there the chance that one of these guys might pick up a drive next year with...
No, but, Hinchcliffe hasn't got it. Well, Hinchcliffe has got a contract, but the team's been taken over by McLaren. Okay. Rossi signed a new deal with Andretti's for, I think it was 3 years or something like that. It's fairly decent. Rossi's one of the better drivers in the IndyCar field.
So it's unlikely that he'd come over?
Not a chance. I think they can tick it off their bucket list and have a fun weekend where someone else is paying the bills. Then the other wild card we've got is the Kostecki brothers. There's some guys from Western Australia. Dad's got a lot of money, but they do seem to be spending less these days and doing a lot of it themselves. They've kind of put the car together themselves and that.
So they've been up training at Paul Morris's
yes.
go-kart track out the front of his house or something?
Yeah, to the dirt track stuff. Yeah, that was good to watch. Bit of overtaking around the clothesline or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. There was, in that little clip there, they had a bit of a sneak peek, I suppose, of the paint job. They've got Boost sponsoring that car. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does look good.
probably looks better than the other two boost cars. There is a chance as well it might give the other two boost cars a run for its money. It's obviously not run by Triple Eight, but it is all Triple Eight components and that on it. The Kostekis do work at Triple Eight. I don't think they do anymore, but
they did in the past.
What's the other brother? We got Jake and Brody.
That's the cousins. I think Brody's a cousin.
Brody's a cousin, Jake's brother, and the other, Kurt, is the one. He's racing for Triple Eight in the Super 2 this year.
And who's going to engineer the car? I saw this week someone was announced.
They got Matty Crawford, who, if you don't know, he used to be at HRT and Kmart, Kelly Racing, all that, when it was the big evil empire down there at Clayton. And
back when you used to wear your red HRT jacket every time I saw you.
They used to win things and had drivers that I liked. No offence, I like the guy coming there next year, and probably his teammate. There's a lot of talk about some English bloke that might be coming over. Well, as if that's going to happen. Now, speaking of Todd Hazelwood,
good subject change.
Matt Stone Racing. Young Jack Smith is joining him. He's done a couple of wildcards this year with Brad Jones Racing. I reckon he's probably in that seat because they're bringing Dad's money. I probably wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of extra logos on the car at the endurance races. And I think it's probably a dress rehearsal for when he takes the seat over next year.
Bring some money.
Yeah, I mean, Todd on his day in this car, like they've had some, good qualifying and that, but whether they're going to, I don't think they're going to trouble the top 10 in qualifying or anything like that. You watch. You'll probably put it like 5th on the grid or something now that I've said that.
He can be good in qualifying, but I think during the race he just throws it away because he has brain farts. Yeah,
I think he's still a bit young and inexperienced, and probably overdriving the car. And I think they're probably engineering's probably a bit lacking. So the tyres don't last the full stint, things like that. Jack Smith hasn't set the world alight when he's done his wildcards, and he's not setting the world alight in Super 2 either. It's sad to say, but probably a little bit of a grid filler. While we're continuing with the grid filler theme, the 4 cars from the Kellys. It's hard. I mean, Rick on his day is as good as anybody else, but he
has been a championship winner.
Yeah, he did.
Controversial.
Fair and square. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, people still butthurt about it to this day. Yeah. He won the championship. He's won Bathurst a couple of times. This year he's teaming up with Dale Wood, which, Dale
Wood still drives a lot. I mean,
and he's a good, solid co-driver. He wasn't, the best main game guy, but as far as co-drivers go,
a lot of experience.
Yeah, that's it.
Drives in a lot of different formats.
Yeah, he did a lot of years in Super 2 and that. He's a good versatile guy. It's good pick up there for Rick. And then we've got Jaime with Bryce Forward, which Bryce is leading the Super 2 championship, so will probably make the step up next year. He's got a lot of experience, although I think this might be his first Bathurst.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to. Oh no, I think he did with.
Last year?
Yeah, I think he did with this Matt Stone last year. In his kind of year where they thought they were going to win the championship and couldn't get their heads around those Penske Falcons. Then we've Gary Jacobson with Dean Fiore. Could be one of the pairings where we see the co-driver do a better job than Gary. He had flashes the last couple of years in the Enduros with the Tickford guys, but you haven't seen much of him this year.
No, not at all.
That Rabble car's been basically invisible. At least Simona crashes or gets crashed into.
She did have a good result last week. Yeah, I saw her interviewed after the race and she was up and about.
Yeah.
She thanked the officials. mixing the field up a little bit.
Having said that, though, she was actually...
Yeah, she was.
She'd qualified kind of mid-pack at least, so...
Unusual for her.
Yeah, well, you know...
Maybe they played with the fuel mixture again in the Nissans like they did a few years ago in winter.
Yeah, it was the blend. Yeah. Put some E10 in instead of the 85. Yeah, that was a good day for Moffat.
It was.
Yeah. Alex Rullo is with her again, so once again, someone bring money. Dad's got deep pockets, and yeah, he did an okay job last year though. Unfortunately, this year he's not driving in Super 2, so that he's been driving the Kelly's shitbox TCR Astra that I think he got shuffled out of that when they stopped paying for the seat. But let's not get into TCR and the...
Well, there's lots of shitty drivers in TCR. I mean, Tander's in TCR now.
Hey. We'll get to the top of the field later.
Okay.
It's funny though, Tander just goes out and wins straight away. Leanne, she was doing okay until she got crashed into. The main Tander, he won a few races, I think.
Okay.
I'm a couple of rounds behind. So
I don't watch too many front-wheel drive formats. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen it all yet. So I did watch the first couple of, but I have got it recorded on my Foxtel box. But I'm waiting for a rainy day when there's
nothing better to watch.
Yeah, like if it's lawn bowls or TCR, I might put TCR on. Okay, Gary Rogers Motorsport. Which one do we start with? Goulding and Richard Muscat.
Boost.
Grid fillers. And Richie Stanaway with Chris Pither. So the chances are...
How is Chris Pither a young driver? Isn't the whole thing around Boost being the sponsor that they had to be young? How old's Chris Pither?
I think they wanted someone good on the team. If we get rid of Tander, we need...
That's why they got rid of Garth. They used the whole Boost sponsorship as a...
Well, they didn't want the geriatrics. I think Pither's still pretty young, but he has got a lot of experience.
He's a good driver.
Yeah, as I said, he's probably the best out of the four of them, which is a sad state of affairs. They had a good Pukekohe, possibly a little bit safety car assisted, but they didn't qualify kind of on the back row. We missed the main back row qualifier. I think Jack LeBrock will get upstaged by the Walkinshaw imports. So he probably won't be last this weekend. Nothing against Jack LeBrock. It's probably more the state of the Techno car at the moment. And surprise, surprise, Jono Webb's going to co-drive with him.
That's been successful in the past.
He nearly won it once, and he did win it another time. But I think it's still the same car that they
had 4 years ago.
Yeah, won it. They just put new body panels in it and didn't bother updating anything else. So
are they spending any money on developments yet, or?
Well, I think they were supposed to, and that's why Jack's still there and why they got money out of Jack. But
John O'Stad hasn't put his hand in his pocket yet, or?
He stopped putting his hand in his pocket. I think that was the problem. That he decided, I don't want to prop this thing up anymore. And it was all exciting when Van Gisbergen, when Jono was driving, and then when they had Van Gisbergen there. Yeah, let's pump whatever into it. Like, people think VIP Pet Foods paid a lot for that sponsorship. I tell you what, there wasn't much money coming from VIP towards trying to win championships. But anyway, an interesting one here, the Team 18. We've got Winterbottom and Stephen Richards. Both have won Bathurst. They've won Bathurst together as well. But the few flashes in qualifying, but that's been about it all year.
It seems like a common theme with that team.
Yeah.
Change the driver out. You get the flashes.
New car and stuff. And it's not kind of... maybe he needs a co-driver for next year. Get another ex-champion on the retirement fund tour.
Garth could go.
I think Garth is probably doing all right with his. Yeah, Shane needed someone tall.
Yeah, that's
Garth
right.
ticks that.
Yeah.
And someone who's not jumping in the car for the first time. And
Yeah.
Garth ticks that as well. So we'll get into the unfavourable conditions Shane's had for the last few years. When we get to the top of the field, because Garth is going to be in the top of the field at Bathurst. The next one's Brad Jones Racing. Now we're really starting to get towards the midfield guys. We got.
I'm not sure that Macaulay's midfield, is he?
He's in the Brad Jones kind of. Maybe we should put them with the wild cards.
Has he finished the race yet?
Sometimes.
But has he completed every lap of the race, or is it just where he's finished the last lap, having spent most of the race in the pit for repair?
The crash damage bill has been pretty good. And I'm not sure who pays the bills on that one.
Yeah.
Because it is the satellite Tim Blanchard thing. I'm not sure if Tim pays for the crash damage or it fits in with the general Brad Jones crash damage for the year, because they do like to destroy cars in Albury there. So, well, speaking of Macca, he's got Dean Canto with him. So it could be another one where the co-driver's faster than the main driver. And Macaulay did well in the Super 2, and as a co-driver the last couple of years, he did really well, but he just hasn't... and I mean, we see this quite often. Guys like Dean Canto do really well in the junior stuff, and then when they...
Can't take the next step.
Yeah, that's it. They get into the main, and it all gets a bit too hard, and so... then Tim Slade is with Ash Walsh again. That was a good pairing. And the main two Brad Jones cars generally seem to be pretty good in the endurance races. They usually do something a bit different with strategy and things like that.
I think strategy is where their strength is. Yeah, obviously
from
they don't
the
have
old
the budget.
Yeah, the Oscar and NASCAR days, they think a bit outside the box and have a bit of a go for it. Not things like not putting enough fuel in the car or things like that. They usually go into a bit of an alternate strategy when they have the opportunity and things like that. And we got Percat and Tim Blanchard, which, Tim was main game driver until 12 months ago, and he's not bad. So
Percat hasn't really done much since he won Bathurst.
He hasn't had the equipment. He won a race in a Lucas Dumbrell car. So, if you listen to Scafey, Tandy carried him that day, and it wasn't fair that Scafey didn't win that race. But, come on, Mark. You come back with Triple Eight for 4 races and you won 3. You come second in the other, give someone else a shot, Speaking of, Tander now coming back with Triple Eight.
That's right.
I think we're on for the similar kind of
Similar
results.
theme.
Yeah. So, so that covers more the mid to back half of the field. Watch me get proven wrong. Saturday, Friday afternoon in qualifying. We'll have qualifying, and Todd Hazelwood will put it bang in the middle of the top 10 or something, and I'll look like a fucking idiot again. But these things happen. So next week we'll look at the top half of the field where Garth Tander's going to be. So that's part 1 of the big Bathurst preview, done and dusted. Next week we'll look at the big teams. So until then, I'll see you later.
Put away your inhibitions. Let the beast in you just get loose. We all young, wild, and